Yes.
Oh.
Well, the bank owns the other two buildings. You can park in front, but you can also park in the old Boris Link lot back on the alley and have the alley door open. If you want to go in the back door.
Oh, yeah, that's over to the. I see, I'm not understanding. I'm not gonna do something I don't. Would you all please rise and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call the county board meeting for December to order, and I'd ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Good morning. Farnham.
Here.
Sheddick. Here. Luddington.
Here.
Patrick. Here. Bruner. Here. Lorenzen. Here. Voigt.
Here. We do have a quorum. In fact, everybody's here. I'd like to welcome everybody in the audience. Next order of business is to approve the minutes for November 6th and 27th of 2019. You've had those in your possession, gentlemen. What's your pleasure? Is there any questions? Is there a motion to approve? Okay. Lud moves. Was it John seconds? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Is carried. Thank you. Claims against the county. Likewise, you've had those before you. Are there any questions or clarifications needed? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Dan moves. Derek seconds. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next item is county board members' claims. You've had those before you. Are there any questions or clarifications?
I would, but I don't want to make her mad. He's kidding.
Okay, Dan.
I,
You're not claiming cats or anything, are you?
not yet. but
Not yet. Are you moving to approve, Dan?
Yes, I am.
Is there a second, please? Lud seconds. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. Now we come to the portion of the meeting where we ask for public comment. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes, which is our policy. We'd ask that you identify yourself and come up to the lectern. So are there any people that would, or person that would like to make a comment to the board? Yes, sir, please come forward.
Good morning. My name is Johnny Driver. I have a question. Don't know if I should ask that here, but here's a question. Since the county jail closed, who's responsible for the cost of the inmates? I had a body attachment on a person, and I was told it was going to cost me $65 a day to house this prisoner. Why is it my responsibility to pay for a prisoner to be transported to Coles County?
I think you're getting wrong information.
Well, it came from a very high source. So they told me it was my best interest to let them out on their own recognizance because it cost me $65 a day.
If it's a body of attachment, it's something that's issued by the court.
Yes.
And it's not your decision to make, and it's the if they're arrested and they can't bond out, it's our responsibility
Exactly.
to take care of it.
That's what I thought.
That is correct.
And that's my question, so.
Right.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
If you have further questions, please contact us. Other comments or anybody else to wish to address the board? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Gail Daly. I reside at 202 East Madison Street.
I was here last week, and I'm here for the same reason. On behalf of Frida Hickson, I would just like to hope that the board would reconsider and have a closed discussion on the issue that was brought up then.
For clarification, we cannot have any closed sessions on that. We talked to our attorney, and she is or was an employee of the Housing Authority, therefore we cannot have a closed session. We did agree at the last meeting where Frida was that we were gonna go out and interview a couple of people. But what our job is and what our limitations is what we're gonna live within. But we'll do the best we can. That's all we can do.
Okay? That's all
I hope
ask.
that clarifies.
Okay,
Thank you. Do you agree with that, Carl?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just say we are still pursuing
Right.
those questions.
Yes, that's what I said. Just not as eloquently as Derek did. Any further, person that wishes to address the board, please? Okay, we'll move along then. Next is a highway resolution authorizing the chairman to sign an addendum to the promissory note with Interstar Power Corporation involving loan from the USDA Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program on the Staley Bridge project. And please note the number of that project. Are there further, did you want to give a brief overview? We basically we've been asked to set back a payment, and this would be our third payment instead of making it.
In July, I think it's moved to December.
Right. So we have no objections, and that's what Interstar would like to do. So is there a motion to approve this resolution, please?
Make a comment.
Yes.
I think Aaron said the bridge is almost done, right, Aaron?
Correct.
So if you want, maybe just drive out there and look at it and see where your money's going, it's really nice. I think people appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
So you feel like it will be opened up for winter?
I can't speak for the contractor, but I feel fairly confident that it'll be open by Christmas. The Friday before Christmas.
That'd be that'd be like 10 days.
Correct.
Okay. I did that. Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Derek moves, Phil seconds. Is there any further discussions? Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
Luddington.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Lorenzen.
Yes.
It does carry, thank you. Next is resolution authorizing county board chairman to sign BLR 05511 local agency consultant agreement with Hillard Bookkeeping to appropriate motor fund, fuel funds for various construction guidance and documentation. We again talked about this on Monday. Is there anything you wish to add, Mr. Engineer?
I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but I think we're very pleased with the results we've gotten from Mr. Hillard for the last 8 or 9 years as it relates to the application of federal dollars and the construction documentation that it takes and the auditing that it takes to do that. So this, essentially this one's a QCQA various, but essentially this will be for the plus or minus $1 million guardrail project that lets in March.
Thank you. Any further questions? Entertain a motion. Dan moves, Andy seconds. Any further questions? Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick. Yes. Luddington.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruner. Yes. Lorenzen.
Yes.
It does carry, thank you, gentlemen. The third item is 2020 County Maintenance Resolution BLR 14220, appropriating funds from the county motor fuel tax allotment for maintenance of county highways beginning 1/1/20 to 12/31/20. Again, this is a housekeeping measure that we do every year that we're required to do. Questions of the engineer, please? Hearing none, a motion? Andy moves, Dan seconds. Further discussions? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Farnum.
Yes.
Sheddick.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Lorenzen.
Yes.
Okay, the next item, resolution to authorize county clerk to place a sales tax referendum on the March 17th, 2020 primary election ballot for public safety purposes. Have you distributed those to us now?
Come on, please.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Oh, it's the same
It's
thing.
basically the same thing.
Only you've got
Oh,
the,
yeah, I have the originals depending upon
what the clerk
number
is
you
holding in
choose.
his hands is one for 1% and one for 3/4. That could be changed even beyond, but in order to enact this morning, we just thought we'd be prepared. So the floor is open for discussion of those, or a motion is in order for this resolution. Andy, you look like you're gonna say something.
Well, when we reviewed the statute, you can go down, but you can't go back up. So in other words, if we decide to vote on a 1% increase, we can go down to 3/4.
In 5 years, we decided we vote to go down to 3/4.
But you can't go back up without a referendum and going through the whole process again. I mean, there's a lot of, I think everybody understands why we're asking for this. We need to work on either fixing our jail or something in there. And the reality is, we really don't know without initiating this process, and we really don't have the money to even initiate the process at this point, what it's gonna cost. So, if anybody's ever built a house or a barn, you always build it too small. So, I think it's better to go for the one, and then when we start using and figuring out exactly what this project will cost, what we need, we can always go down. So I'm going for 1%.
Other comments?
We also talked about a sunset clause after 5 years, but my point is, if we decide to build a jail and we have to apply or get bonds, then at the end of 5 years, we may not have enough money to pay the bonds off. So I think we should not have a sunset clause.
Okay. Derek?
I think just a couple things to reiterate about, the why and wherefore. Obviously, front of mind for most people is the jail and our situation there. I would say that not only do we have concerns with, what it's gonna look like, basically because we have closed our jail, we don't know, with a high degree of certainty what it's going to take to get that jail reopened. And we've suffered from that several times over the last few months as far as thinking we know something and then get something thrown our way. So in order to be nimble as we go forward with reopening the jail and making sure all of our bases are covered, this is important. Additionally, the thing that wasn't clear to me in the early parts of this conversation, and it's something that we don't think about all the time unless we're looking at the budget, but how we are currently set up as far as paying our personnel that are responsible for keeping us safe in this county, we are continuously sliding behind on that. And so in order to keep the same level of coverage and personnel there in the county to protect us, we need this money to keep that going. So it's not just the jail. In order to be where we need to be as far as the pay of our county personnel or county safety personnel, we need this money. So, and say with the review of that statute, that allows us to basically with a resolution of the board, reduce the levy at any time. I'm on the same page with 1%.
Carl, do you have anything to say?
I've said all on
Phil?
previous meetings.
I agree with these two.
John?
I'm kind of agreeing with Carl.
Well, is there a motion to be had?
I move that we go forward with the 1% increase on the ballot at the next election.
Okay, Derek moves, Andy seconds. Further discussion? Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Farnum,
No.
Chittick,
No.
Luddington,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Lorenzen,
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes. I voted because I think I should say how I feel. Okay? All right, gentlemen. We'll do the appropriate things to move this forward. Next item on the agenda. Oh, I guess I didn't say that the resolution did pass 5-2. Okay, set time, or dates, times, and location for county board meeting. You do have that issue, or that page before you. I think you supplemented that this morning, correct, Mr.?
Yes.
So are there any additions or corrections to that? Hearing none, motion to approve those meetings, please. Derek? And John seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thus carried. Set dates, times, and location for 2020 county board study sessions. Again, you've had that information before you. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Andy moves, Derek seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thus carried. Next, we need to figure out whether we need to have a study session on December 23rd. We need to have a motion to and so many days, 10 days in advance to cancel that, since we've been posting it all year. What are your thoughts? Would you like to go ahead and have that meeting, or what do you think?
We've got a few things on the hopper that I can see possibilities where we're going to wish we had a chance to get together before the first week of January.
I agree with that. I think that with even a possibility we might have a special meeting beforehand to deal with the wind farm issue. So although we may not pass anything ultimately, we need to discuss and maybe set up some issues, make an appointment of the plat committee, which is involved with wind farms, and anything else comes up, okay? So we will go ahead and have that meeting as scheduled, not act on this motion, and possibly even have a special meeting that day, okay? Next up,
Just-
go ahead,
I'll
John.
ask one quick question just for bookkeeping.
Yes, sir?
If things don't settle out to where we need to have the meeting, is there any way to cancel shorter term, or no?
Don't show up.
Don't show up?
I won't be there, so, not that you need me anyway.
I didn't mean to be glib, John, but
No,
no.
that's a fair answer, yeah.
Yeah, we just all, just miraculously
A little
don't
bit of
show
flu
up.
and we're
Or just
fine.
leave me alone there, you
Yeah.
know? Okay. We have the sheriff's semi-annual report in your packet. He is not here to discuss it, so. Any questions on that or any comments?
I'll make a motion to put it on file.
Okay, Carl moves, to put it on file. Andy seconds. Sorry, he gave me, he goes like this, it's kinda like bidding. Okay, you got a signal rearing. All those in favor of putting it on file signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The county clerk likewise has and recorder has a semi-annual report. Augie, would you like to say anything about that?
This report is fairly consistent with the way things have been done in the last several months. So there's nothing here that is outstanding from my point of view.
All right, any questions of the clerk, please? Hearing none, is there a motion to put his report on file? Carl moves. Phil seconds. I saw your,
Did you move your head?
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay. Next item is the animal shelter call-out policy. And basically, this policy sets forth by the committee would set the parameters for one employee will be paid $35 per call-out. The animal control officer will only be called out for the following: serious dog injury, dog bites, or police-related dog removals. The sheriff's department is required to attend each after-hour call out due to risk of harm while being alone on a call-out. The schedule of who is on the call-out at any particular time will be posted at the beginning of each month. Does that reflect the committee's?
Yes,
Okay, so,
we just figured they need to be compensated, called out like 3 in the morning or midnight, only for emergencies.
now, if the sheriff and the police chief in Paris are,
I will get in contact with both of them and explain the situation and
okay,
what we would like for them to do. We can't make them, but we like for them to be there.
a motion to approve this, please?
So,
Second? Andy seconds, Derek made the motion. Yeah, any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay? Okay, we do not need a resolution, as it turns out, for the animal shelter to adopt on the rabies program, which goes into effect January 1st. However, I think a motion that the animal shelter will adhere to state law in vaccinating all cats for rabies and make sure that they have a certificate. And at that time, it's needed according to state veterinarian.
It's not all cats, it's only domesticated cats.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, feral
No,
cats
to
do not
domestic-
apply, so.
To domesticated cats, okay? Or any cat that's brought in for neutering.
Right, then they
Okay.
have to be vaccinated.
Right. Any questions? Motion? John moves. Andy seconds. Any further questions? And I'll clarify the wording with you later if you need to. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Now we come to the portion of the meeting for officer and department head reports. Do you have anything to add today?
I do not think there's any questions.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions of our engineer? Angie?
I have nothing today.
Any-
I've got a question. You know, to Mr. Driver's question about the attachment for contempt, was
Yes.
I correct? I mean, there's no additional cost for him for anything, is there?
As far as I'm concerned, no, there shouldn't be.
Right. I thought I was correct, but you're familiar with that a lot.
Well, I think we need to talk to the judges more about this. I mean, because I think somebody's confused.
Okay,
You do think it's on the county?
correct,
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the way I understood it too.
right,
That's the way it was planned.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to. Monty?
Hey,
Hi.
all's good with probation.
Okay. Sam, do you have anything from the ambulance side?
I mentioned this, I think, in ambulance committee, I can't remember if I mentioned it Monday or not, just to let you know, we have purchased a 4th ambulance. And I'm in the process of getting that outfitted and inspected by the state. That will be our 4th ambulance, it will be a spare, but it does allow us to have some flexibility as far as maintenance on the other 3, as well as in the event of some major disaster, calling in, staff to be able to staff that ambulance. That go live date is anticipated for February 1 session. Nothing else.
Any other questions, please? Jay, good morning. Do you have anything to report this morning?
No, we're moving forward, you know, like we talked the other day in the meeting we had, that, the lighting guys came in and they're gonna do a little presentation here a little bit now. I think after the first of the year, we're gonna start bringing the guys in for the paint and stuff like that to move forward there.
Okay. Any questions?
Just had a question I should have asked the other day. As far as the painting we're doing, are we doing any painting work in the old section?
I think for right now, from what we all discussed, we're gonna work on the new section first and get it all updated,
Yep.
modernized and everything. That way, then we can get everybody back in, then we're gonna start on the middle floor there and try to do the same thing that we're doing there. That way we can bring everybody back instead of paying out to do all of it, with everybody outside.
Right.
Bring it back, and they've already agreed to come back in and do all that, tell you exactly what.
I don't know what was discussed, but I mean, is there a cost savings to having them knock it out while they're there already?
Haven't really even discussed it, didn't, you know, right now, I think we're just talking about just trying to get the front part open back up. With the insurance company, and then, you know, having them come in, because the biggest issue they had with the insurance company is the same thing that we got with the front part of our jail, you know, some of the lights and some of the water issues and things like that.
Sure.
And I think that once we get that moving forward, and they show that, you know, we've got this going forward, that they, I can give them the same ideas and exactly what this, the older section's gonna look just exactly like this. And,
Right. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself here, but just with what we were just talking about as far as budgetary concerns, if there's cost savings there, I think we're all on the same page as far as the overarching goal is having the old jail, at least that first floor, open and for use. And so as we're going through, I'm firmly behind, you know, if there is some cost savings available, and as we have workers in for one side, just have them knock the other side out, because that's where we're going with it, so.
How many prisoners were the new part hold, Carl? Parts are working on.
Excuse me?
The new part, how many prisons,
How many
how many
prisons?
cells are there?
We've got 8, 10, we got 10 cells, we could hold 20 people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then in the old part, there's 8 cells.
there's 8 cells.
And you can hold another 16.
16 people up there, yes.
In the lower old
Lower
part.
part, right,
Yeah.
right.
There's 6 upstairs, but,
Yeah, that'd be a problem.
yeah.
Well, you might, Jay, you might check just to see what it would cost as an add-on
Okay,
to do the lower,
okay.
and then how much later. I mean, I know what they're gonna do, but you might just check to see and have that available, so when we talk again next week, we can talk about that,
I mean,
okay?
if it's the same, certainly overview.
It doesn't hurt to find out.
Sure, I can have them come back over and give us an estimate of what it would do just to do the lower section right there.
They're gonna, are they gonna have to come back, give us another estimate to do like the ceilings and, you know, the walls on the outside? You know,
As
so
far as,
you,
you're talking about the lower section?
in the lower,
Yes.
in the new part,
No,
remember-
they've already got.
the second quote,
Yeah, because,
Okay.
well, they've already measured pretty much all the way
Okay.
across anyway.
okay, so they just know by us telling them we want the whole thing
Right.
done, they know how,
Right,
they don't have to come back and look then.
I don't
But they
think
know
so.
they have the.
I mean, don't quote me on that, but
Okay.
I don't
We
think
can
so.
talk about it next week.
Right, but I'll get I'll try to get over there today and see if they can, you know, schedule a day to come over there and go through that.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jay.
No, I'm not staying.
Let's see, Dina, do you have anything?
Just that we are running late. It's been a brutal couple of months trying to get data out of the old system and into the new, but we are on the third round of editing, and I'm hoping 2019 reassessment notices will be out the end of next month.
Okay. Jill?
I'm working on end of the year stuff with the state, but I did get an answer from your question earlier. I can wait till now or later, but that's you.
Yeah, go ahead.
This basically said our grant was for this X amount of dollars. It was signed by the director on 11/6, and no payments have been processed at this time.
So, it's coming, but Now, is that for 2020 or for, I'm
This is for
talking,
2019.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we still have money coming from
Yes.
that. Okay. I appreciate that, Joe. Any other questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. Are there any other, let's see, where are we at? I'm sorry. Janet?
Nothing new, we're busy as always. I'm anxious to hear about the presentation because it is a problem for us. We have lots of patients and lots of clients every day, so I tell you what, the lighting guy was like super nice when he came over, but I had no idea he was coming and all the patient rooms were full, and so I'm hoping that I get a whole lot more information. Because the email came out and the guy had already been to our department.
Oh, we'll talk about those specifics here in a minute, and I'm sure that Ori and his crew can somehow change that communication process so that doesn't happen again. I think we were told that everybody was aware of the schedule and everybody was emailed out a schedule.
When the email came out, the lighting guy had already been over there.
Okay.
We'll get into the weeds here in a little bit. Let's get through the meeting. Tom?
Our project is finished with the exception of some painting of directional striping on the pavement. There is a short punch list that our construction engineer created and has passed on to the general contractor. Everything's in good shape.
Any questions of the airport? Jonathan? How are you?
We are in need of more therapists. If anybody has kid at ISU or EIU or some college for social work or clinical therapy, we take interns and we'll help them get up and going and licensed. In the spring, we're going to start our teen mental health first aid at the local high school. They received a grant and we're helping them with that, and actually my predecessor, Ken Polke, will be there presenting and helping the school to educate the students on how to reduce self-harm and violence, suicide and those things, to be able to recognize it and know when to report it and who to report it to, not for them to actually act as therapists. And we began building a crisis program. We've hired a contractor to piece together our suicide crisis program so that we can take that back over for Edgar and Clark counties. We're expecting spring to be the implementation.
Anything else, Jonathan? No. Any questions? Thank you. Augie?
Since we met the last time, the filing period closed for the 2020 general primary. So now we are just in the process of getting the ballot prepared. And other than that, pretty quiet. So if I don't get another opportunity to talk to you, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody.
Thanks for the cookies.
Okay, don't mention it. Thank you.
We'll circle back around to Don, or did Don leave? He left? He just blew in and blew out, huh? Okay, board, committee reports. Dan, anything other than what we just did?
Two things at the animal shelter, so very much appreciated. And as far as again on the vaccination for cats, it's only for domesticated cats. So if you have 15 feral cats like I have, I don't have to take them and get them vaccinated.
Unless
I take them in to get something else done. And have to be vaccinated.
That's like the headline of your bio. I have 15 feral cats.
The house on Wood Street has been sold, so I have 6 cats over there I need to get rid of. So if anybody would like to have a cat, let me know, and I'll get the cat fixed for you, and I will deliver it. So
So then you'll have 9 feral cats, or you actually have 21 feral cats?
I'm not gonna tell you. They keep coming for lunch.
He's kind of like the Joe,
So that's where we're at.
Gotta get somebody to look.
Okay? Andy?
No, the majority of what I had to say will be the next item on the
It's his
agenda.
own special meeting.
Phil?
Nope.
John?
I have nothing.
Carl?
No.
Derek?
Fist pump for project complete, or just pretty damn close, the airport, so.
Took a long time, didn't it? Yeah, how
Yep.
many years, how many
Yep.
years? Yeah.
Well, before I was even on the board for a
Yeah, I
couple
know.
years, so.
You missed all the excitement, didn't you?
They do have
Yeah, I
the,
missed all of it.
the estimates are out for the new project, which are not public estimates, but those are out and it's due to be bid in January, so. And they have been able to accommodate some of the cost savings between the two projects on temporary road work.
Did you get that in an email or something?
Yeah, you should have got it, I thought you were on it. Got it last week, I think.
Went to my junk file.
Okay, I guess it's time then for smart watch, well, let back up one thing. I do have a couple of things. One of the things that I'm working with the engineer on, and we've got a couple of interested parties, is that we have not updated the wind farm resolution or ordinance since 10? I think it was
Yeah.
early 10, and that needs to be done. Technology's changed a lot. We've sought out professional advice in the field, looked at what other counties are gonna do. For example, the distance from a wind farm structure to a primary structure, like a house or a church, is 1,000 feet. And standards have changed a bunch, and a lot of them are looking at 500 meters or 1,650 feet. Setbacks have pretty much stayed the same at 1.1 of the height of the structure from ground to the tip. However, the structures have increased in size. Back when we were talking about it in 9 and 10, they were 400, 300 plus to 400. Now they're in excess of 500 feet tall. So we need to take that into account. We had a price per licensing of 1,000, and of course it's all over the place, but it seems like most siting applications ask for somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 per unit. Also,
Pardon me, per tower, not per site?
per tower.
Okay.
Also, decommissioning, we need to look at carefully on decommissioning to make sure that we have accommodated everything. Insurance, for example, we asked in our original one for the total liability for a project of 15 million. Most projects are minimum of 30. I mean, these are just, they're not big fixes, but they are important fixes. It shouldn't be much, but we want to make sure that we get some information to you. That's why I spoke about a special meeting, either to not act on it, but at least start to set up a committee that deals with this. And number 2, maybe doing a moratorium till the first meeting in January, so somebody doesn't sneak in on us, okay? Yes?
What area of Edgar County is that?
Well, there's 2 areas that are being looked at. One is, picture a cone out from Kansas heading to the northeast. And another one is north of Chrisman, a cone that heads towards Vermillion County and includes part of Vermillion County. So there's 2 different areas being
Are there a
looked
lot
at.
of homeowners in that area? Houses or whatever? Or
Well-
basically, as far as
It's a
that.
rural area, so I mean, there's.
There- And remember that unlike the power company or anything else, they do not and cannot get eminent domain.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question.
Okay, so that is definitely a consideration. Now, I also caution at the same time, and we didn't laugh about it, we kind of cried about it the last time we went through all this. Our engineer spent hours, maybe a couple hundred to 300 hours working with firms, and it came all for naught. So this may not happen, and of course, we don't know. So we want to spend the right amount of time making sure we're right, but we also don't want to get carried away with it either. So I don't imagine you have much to add, do you?
No, just the point that you talked about, getting the assessor involved and, you know, the committee, getting us all on the same page.
Right.
Just reviewing the plat committee and.
Are there any questions about that? I know there are questions, but I mean, you understand where we're headed then? Okay. I have no problem with it. Okay. All right, then it's time for the Smart Watt kickoff presentation. Ori, or whoever, the audience is welcome to remain to hear all this, but
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Jana, I apologize that we've already caused trouble over there. I would be curious just to find out who that was and when that was, because the purpose of this meeting is to establish communication, schedule, and make sure that that's all happening properly for the project. So typically we don't do anything prior to that. So whoever was over there, hopefully it was a subcontractor of ours, we need to talk to them and make sure they don't show up unannounced, because that's obviously a problem. These projects don't work without proper communication, as you guys know, so it's very important to us. Chuck Hernandez is our project manager, so he is the key point of contact for everything that's going on. He is aware of everything. He'll be on site regularly, overseeing the project, and then I will obviously remain involved throughout the process to make sure that everything is going properly. So either one of us can be communicated with or talked to if anything comes up that you guys see an issue with, or if there's safety concerns with something, or if communication isn't happening properly, or if there's scheduling things that come up. Because obviously you guys have a lot going on over at the health department with patients, so we want to make sure we're respecting that. If there's specific work that we have to make sure is done on certain days for whatever reason, or on even weekends or nights, we want to make sure that we know that in advance and that we're all communicating to make sure that that's done properly with you guys. Chuck has a agenda that I'm not sure if everyone has a copy of it, but Augie,
We did not receive that. Late last night, 7 o'clock, Chuck sent me something this morning.
Came in late.
I was unable to open the attachments, so there's nothing there.
Okay.
But I do want to make
Not
a
a
point of
problem.
clarification.
Yeah.
Last week, I did send out an email to all those who are involved, department heads that are, with their buildings that are involved. So now I need to know, did anybody?
I got the email, it's just that they had already been there by the time I got the email.
I'm not.
sounds like it wasn't us.
Who was there? Sound like.
So-
And I don't remember
We'll
the
just-
name.
I sent it.
We'll check with this.
They
Yeah.
said they were
Doesn't-
working with.
I sent the email, told them they were coming. Maybe
I
the
think
time
I
you
may
open
have
it.
it still.
I had this card.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I'm not aware of anybody coming out. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so that's something that we'll get to the bottom of that, and we'll make sure that we're having proper communication. But Chuck's just gonna quickly give a few things, go over a few things with you guys today, and then we'll have more detailed conversations outside of this meeting, so we don't want to take up too much time today for that.
Okay, great, I'm glad you invited us to it, this is a good time to just kick this meeting off. My name is Chuck Hernandez, I'm the project manager for Smart Watt. Speak up?
need to speak up a little
Okay.
bit more.
Yeah, so I'm the Smart Watt project manager, and I will be managing this project from start to finish. I just want to kind of step through what we're gonna, just a short step through here of what's happening. You have a list of the project contacts. I believe I sent this out last week, August, I believe I sent it to him. So you should have that. If not, I will send it out again to all the department heads as well. Myself is on here with my cell phone number, my office number, my email address, as long as with Steve Rickles, who is our lighting engineer. His phone number is on here. Corey Cummings is on here. And then Brady Schultz, our operations manager, is on here. So in case something, you can't get a hold of me, it's an emergency or on my vacation, he would be the next guy to get a hold of. I've also listed our subcontractors who's working on this job. Sycamore Engineering will be handling the mechanical and the plumbing. KNF Electric Lighting will handle the lighting, and NRG will be handling the building envelope, so their contact and phone numbers on here. Again, I'll send this all out to all the department heads and people who be managing this. So what I wanna do is, I'm just gonna step through the, review the scope of work, and I think I sent that out last week as well as this morning as well. I'll just briefly go through it here. So we're gonna be doing work in the sheriff's department, jail, courthouse, the health department, the airport, the courthouse annex, and the animal shelter, and the ESDA building. In the scope of work, if you have it in front of you, you see the lighting is probably one of the biggest part of this project here. And it indicates the buildings will be starting, we'll be doing work in, which is primarily the building I just named, we're gonna be doing lighting in. You can just kind of look at it, I'm not gonna go into detail, because it's pretty much technical, but you can take a look at it, and if you got any questions, you can always send me an email. The next part of the project is the building infiltration reduction, which is gonna happen on every building as well. It will be, include sealing the doors, windows, and any penetrations to alleviate the cold air being sucked into every building, because most buildings are negative pressures, and they pull in outside air wherever there's a leak. So that's gonna help with the heating and cooling part of it. The next facility improvement measure would be the water conservation at the jail. So currently, there's no conservation measures on there. We're gonna be installing flush valves that control how many times an inmate can flush the toilet. Because right now, they can flush as many times they want, they can hold it down, whatever they wanna do. So we're gonna put these valves on there, and usually we set them so you can flush 3 times every half hour. Or if you flush 3 times real quick, well, then you're locked out for an hour. So we got different ways we can play with that, and we'll just put those in. We don't tell them that, we try not to, but they figure it out. Because once they figure that out, then they start playing with it, obviously. And so we just kind of do it. They probably won't know it, because now I was at the jail this morning, and the sheriff told me the jail is empty. So I'm gonna move that part of the project up quicker and get the lighting and the water controls all done there before anybody comes back. And they won't even know that was even there. So that would make it a lot easier, because I know we've done these in the past. As soon as we put these in, the inmates figure it out, and they start playing with stuff, and then they start complaining. So just shouldn't have those complaints here, because they won't know it.
Is that single point control electronic, or how does that work?
It's electronic, yes, low voltage.
So then obviously the jail stuff, it was adjusted over the past couple months. So we'll just wanna make sure that the sheriff and then any of you guys that wanna walk it with us know exactly what we are touching and what we're not touching, because there's gonna probably be a little gray area in between that. So we wanna at least show you what we are choosing to, and if for some reason that's too much, then we need to be adjusting that, for, you know, credit or however we wanna handle it, or vice versa. If there's actually more area that you guys want us to touch, then we just wanna make sure we have a very defined
You
line.
met Jay, he's the jail administrator.
Yeah. So that's one area where there, you know, we obviously adjusted that scope, but we haven't actually drawn that line for you guys to know where there might be a light that went outside that area, you guys might want us to do that. And that's not a big deal, if it's just one fixture, we can take care of that. But if there is something that's larger scope, then we wanna make sure that we are properly handling that with you guys.
Yeah, pretty much what was taken out of the scope is everything that's in the older part of the jail. So that was just totally removed for now, so. But at any time before we pull off, we can bring it back. The next big item would be the VRF system at this courthouse. So that would be a big item. That would take care of all the heating and cooling for this first and second floor. That will probably start later in the year and wrap up early spring, late spring, sometime around there.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it a bunch, but the VRF is your variable refrigerant flow. And essentially what that does is that's gonna remove these window units, and we're gonna have either a console, in this room specifically, it'll probably be in the ceiling. Sometimes they'll be wall mounted or up in the corner of the wall. And there's basically just a small refrigerant line that runs to that console. So that's how the space will be cooled from here on out. And that's also able to be used for heat if necessary, to allow you guys to hopefully not have to use the steam system in those shoulder seasons. Because it's obviously very uncomfortable sometimes with how, especially in this room when it gets full, as you guys, it's a little warm in here.
And and one of the last things is the thermostatic radiator valves, which is also in the courthouse. So we're replacing every one of these radiator valves here, so they'll be individually controlled, because right now they're either open or they're off. So they don't, nothing tells them when to open, when to close, so this way they'll be monitored, get the outside temperature, whatever that value is, they'll open and adjust as necessary, so the heating will be a lot improved. Bottom line, by the end of the day, you're gonna have a lot lower utility bills, things will operate more efficiently, things will be more heat and cool better for you. And again, the biggest thing is we lower the utility bills, when we do that, we lower our reliance on fossil fuels across the board, so that's a good thing. Lowers your carbon footprint, a very good thing to happen.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with the VRF and with those radiator controls that we want to make sure we emphasize with you guys and the occupants of the building is that there is a period that you'll have to be patient with us because they're going to be extreme hots and extreme colds that happen on the outside, and when we're doing the installation it might not be the case. So when we get into those extreme temperatures, areas might be a little uncomfortable and those temperatures might have to be adjusted a little bit. So that's where obviously communication can be very important. Hopefully you guys don't get too many phone calls during those periods of time, knowing that Bob's not here anymore. But we want to make sure that everyone in those spaces knows that they can feel free to talk to us about the comfort, because we want to make sure we're not leaving here and leaving people in a scenario where they're uncomfortable. That's the ultimate goal, is obviously to increase that comfort, but obviously get energy savings at the same time. So there is some flexibility with that. We want to make sure everyone's aware of that. We're not just sticking with what we're doing and then leaving. We want to work with everyone to make sure they're comfortable.
And then we're replacing the domestic hot water heaters in the courthouse right here. Right now you have a 40-gallon water heater which goes the whole building, so we're replacing it with point-of-use water heaters, which only heat the water when you need it. So you're not heating 40 gallons, and very rarely need 40 gallons capacity at any time, I think. So that's going to reduce your water consumption and your electrical bill as well, your gas bill. Well, another major part of the project is going to be the HVAC upgrades at the health department. So they'll be removing all the pneumatic controls, replacing everything with GDC controls. We'll be doing this pretty much on the fly, so there's going to be periods where maybe something's not operating at 100%. But that happens when you do retrofits. You know, you're working on an occupied system, so that always happens. So but there'll be periods where something may not be cool enough, may not be warm enough. We're probably going to be doing this. I'm trying to put it off as long as I can so I get closer to a shoulder month. So it's not really cold, not really hot. So, but we're going to kind of play with that and see how it is. We don't want to stretch the project out too long because it doesn't do us any good to do that either. So we're going to try to get that in and get that done as quickly as possible. So,
yeah, the biggest coordination effort is definitely going to be that facility improvement measure, and I think it will probably justify a separate meeting with Janet and the staff over there to review the schedule and make sure that we're following that. So that will be something that follows up this meeting before we actually start any work over there.
And then I believe, and the rest of it is just explaining what we're going to be doing there at that building. Okay, so let's talk about the project schedule. So we went through that. I sent the project schedule out this morning, so you probably didn't get that at all. But I'm just gonna kind of step through it as to when we anticipate doing things. And I'm gonna revise after I spoke to the sheriff, and I'll send it out to everybody getting in the department heads as well. So you'll get that as well. So we're in our engineering procurement stage right now. So we're getting our engineering documents, our drawings, our plans, specs, whatever, and we're ordering material. We don't probably expect to start anything until the first of the year, other than the building exterior envelope, which those guys will start Monday. And they'll be going around to the buildings and sealing the doors and the windows. So expect people to show up on Monday. I will have a list of where they will start. I believe they're starting at the, I don't have it here what building they're starting, but I do have it written down. So I will send that out to the buildings they go starting first. They won't take them long. They'll probably be at each building maybe a day. Or maybe longer here at this one here, but they shouldn't.
The animal shelter, a lot of times they're not there. We have
Correct.
keys for the doors.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
correct. So we will.
Sorry to interrupt, just to anchor down on real quick. As the attic hatch, is that the single point of entry to the attic space, that one that's referenced on page 5 here? For the building filtration reduction? Joe, you may know. So, to what we were discussing at the study session, our bales of insulation up there,
Right.
get on somebody.
Yeah.
Our new, contract guy that we're using for maintenance around here, is that somebody we can get a hold of and get in there prior to Monday? I don't know what the schedule is.
Roll that out.
Yes, before we seal access to said.
John,
So if we can coordinate that, that's a big one, because we've had plenty of insulation sitting up there waiting for somebody to roll it out. So
Oh,
you
gotcha.
guys seal all access,
Okay.
like,
Okay.
coordinate and
So,
take care
so
of.
That makes sense.
you'd rather have him finish his stuff first before you go in there?
I just wanna coordinate it, and if we can get a hold of whoever we can get, John, again, you did offer, you did say.
I'm waiting for him to call me to
All
show
right,
me where
well,
the hatch is.
Send John a text.
Squeeze up there, right? Yeah.
So, Jill, if you can be the squeaky wheel on that too, and make sure we get that done, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
So, sorry, Mark.
You understand what,
Mhm.
there's, they got the insulation,
Yeah.
they tossed it up in there, it's still in rolls.
Still in
Right.
They just need to roll it
It's a
out.
very
You wouldn't
tiny
put in there,
hole
like-
and
It's,
very big
and it's
hole
pretty,
that were there.
Yep.
So
I
nobody
don't
can
think
get
Bob
up there
can
to
get
get it.
up there, that's why he didn't roll that out.
Okay, yeah, that's not a problem, I mean, the jail's empty, so anybody can work in there, so, but as soon as they get that stuff done, because like I said, I plan on starting there first, now that I know it's empty, it's a good time to do it, because I can get everybody in, they can knock that thing out and get out of there for anybody.
Yeah, I haven't seen the hatch. I don't know if he's just
Yeah, and
planning
I-
on putting sweeps around the.
That's probably all that is, it's probably just a seal or sweep, that's it, done, yeah, so it's not a big deal, he can always come back and do that, with the guys in there working, so, yeah, definitely.
What was decided on the boiler at the jail?
That is not part of the scope.
So yeah, so that's the only thing that's really starting this month. The lighting will be starting next month, looks like it's January 6th. The mechanical VRF installation on the courthouse, I got a date of about 12:30 for that. And then some of these dates, it probably could roll into next year, because it's very difficult to try to schedule crews this time of year, because guys take a lot of time off, and so I'm every day I'm contacting my subs. What does it look like? You know, how does it look? Because guys take off, they get a
Slackers
chance, so.
don't wanna
Yeah,
work
so
on Christmas.
it seems like that week when nobody wants to work, so, you know, it is what it is, so. So I just kind of pencil dates in, so this schedule right now is probably 90% accurate. But after the first of the year, it's probably gonna be 100% accurate, so this, but I'll send this out anyway, what I have, so at least you got a snapshot of what's gonna be happening, when we think it's gonna happen. The public health department building, that's gonna be the next, that'll be a big job. That's not gonna start until February 10th. So that's down the road, so that we'll get to. Same thing with the north and south zone, that's CU, the ACU, that, in February. The thermostatic radiator control valves will start in February as well, as will the courthouse water heaters. Looking like the 17th for the valves and on the 24th for the water heaters.
You have to have the boiler off, put those on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cause we're gonna try to, we're looking to see if there's isolation valves, and there really isn't. And if there was, I'd be afraid to try to shut them off, cause you won't get them back on again.
Right.
So, yeah, so it'll probably be done on the fly, on moderate days, that's why I kinda let it go out longer.
If everybody's potted plants in the office, would be nice and humid, it'd be great.
Yeah, maybe watching the weather, and if
Right.
there's a
They're-
50-degree day or something, you might be
Yeah,
able to get in.
they're easy to replace.
Today's.
Right.
Surprising to shut the boiler off, right? But, other than that, except, it'll be good, there's a lot of them in here to do.
Right.
So we'll, you know, they may do a couple one day, and okay, we can't do anymore, it's too damn cold, or something happened, but,
I wanna say something for Janet, what, if she has like a valve fail or something, cause that happens, right? Can you go take care of that under this project, so that we're not doubling up on costs?
yes, but it'll be a cost, because it's not figured into the work.
Okay.
So if I have to ask my contractor, hey, spend another 8 hours, do this and that, he's gonna charge me for that.
Okay.
So it would come to you as a change order,
Okay,
yes, yeah.
but if it's part of the scope of the work we're doing,
Then we take care of it.
Okay.
Right, but if, for instance, something breaks down
right,
in your building that we're not even touching, or we're gonna work on it, and it breaks down, but we have to order more parts, and we know it's gonna take more labor, that'll be a change order.
Okay.
Cause that does happen.
Okay.
It does happen.
Yeah, so I think the concern would be, you know, is this work able to start a little sooner to avoid that, I guess would be the biggest question.
Yeah,
That's-
so
They're gonna replace it.
but basically, the start dates are driven by the equipment when it comes in. So that's why it started, and that's also driven by the availability of labor from that sub. This is how I come up with the dates, what I need, and then of course you tell me how many days it takes to do it. So, again, we're kind of early with this schedule, and because of the holidays, this whole thing may get compressed as we move along. So this is like worst case scenario, what I did. So it could be compressed, we could start sooner. But if we do, there's a process we will follow to notify everybody.
Yeah, so if something like that happens, we might be able to advance the schedule a little bit and just get the work started now, so you don't have to spend double money or replace something that just got replaced.
Correct, yep. Okay, and the building automation system, again, that's 224 in the public health. The jail control, we're gonna move up, that will start in January 13th, but we're probably gonna move that to January 1st, so we can get out of there by the end of January with the lighting and the water fixtures before they start bringing in the inspection. Start to close this job out somewhere in January, March, April, mid-April, close it out. As far as 100% done. The longest part of this job is 70 days to do the VRF system in this courthouse, because a lot of it is weather contingent on the outside, setting up that unit, wiring up and soldering joints. It's difficult soldering joints when it's 20 degrees outside, you gotta get the weather, so that's why that is being carried out so long. But there's a lot we can do in here and cover that before we set the unit outside.
Right. And the benefit of that obviously is it's a new system, it's not replacing, so you can, the existing system can continue to run and operate, so that's obviously super helpful.
Right, it's good when you have that option.
Well, it's a little more flexibility.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about some of these critical path items. This goes back to the communications part. So the critical path items I laid out originally were the jail lighting and the water treatment. At this point, it's no longer critical path because there's nobody there. So that becomes a lot easier getting it. Matter of fact, the sheriff has offered to let our guys stay overnight to get the job done quicker because there's plenty of bunk space there now. They can stay there. So I said, I'll run that by our contractor because he's sending up some guys here and they're gonna work 10-hour days there at that jail, so they can knock that thing out. So that'll work okay. Yeah. Correct, yes. And then the other critical path item would be the public health department and this courthouse. So what we do before we come in and do any work in a jail, a critical path, public health or courthouse, we will sit down with the owner or the department head and we will lay out, here's our plan, and we'll make sure that the plan works with you because you're a health center first, construction site second. So that's how we do this. So the guys just won't show up, hey, we're starting today. I'll know when they're gonna start, and then we'll set up a meeting, and we'll sit down with whoever's in charge of the courthouse here, whoever's in charge of the health department, whoever's in charge of jail, and we'll figure a plan out, where we're gonna start, how we're gonna start, where we can come in, where we can't come in, where we can put our materials, everything, so that when we do start, we're all organized, we're all on the same page, so there's no miscommunication, so nobody should be showing up without me knowing it, and I have to know it to let you know it, so if someone shows up, I don't know who they are, and they just show up, they could be anybody, for all I know. But typically our contractors don't show up on site. I mean, today they're on site, I believe everybody should have got that email that they were coming today to visit every building, look at the electrical part. Because our electrical subcontractor had not walked this part. We originally had a subcontractor local who we were gonna hire to do this job, and when it came time to get a hold of him, he never returned my phone calls, doesn't answer his emails, so I don't even know if he's in business anymore. So I had to go out and find another contractor who agreed to a contract price sight unseen, which is really good. I've worked with this guy before, but he finally came up to me, so now he's familiar with it. But I think that was very good of him to want to take this job on at a last minute notice and help us out here. That was good. And that's K&F Electric there. That's on the chief. So when you see him, thank him for coming out and taking this at a last notice and getting it done. So that's the process. So there should be no miscommunication. My email is always open. Whatever you set up here, who's the point of contact, I recommend that you always go through your point of contact first, so that person knows what's going on. You can send me an email, but copy your point of contact, whoever your contact is, so that person knows what's happening. My cell phone's on there. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me, because I'm in the office maybe one day a week at that. And usually I'm working out of the home or on the road, so that's usually the best way to get a hold of me. Or you can call me anytime. He's available, cell phone, anytime, but I don't see text or whatever. I don't see you would need to. Then again, there's always my operation manager, so if I do go out, and I will be gone for the holidays, I let all my clients know that I'm gone. Here's who you want to talk to in case something happens. Usually nothing happens because nobody wants to work during those holiday periods anyway. So, but there's always somebody you can get a hold of that smartwatch, you know, that, for any type of emergency. And definitely call me first for any type of emergency. If you see anything on site that you don't feel comfortable with, the guy's not working safely, or this isn't right, you don't feel good about it, call me immediately. Okay, that's what I'm here for, because I have to manage these guys. I gotta know if they're doing something unsafe, or you think maybe something's not going right here, or someone shows up and who are you? And you're not sure who they are. I mean, you have a list who they are now, but if someone comes up and you don't know who they are, just call me and say, I don't know who that guy is. You know, you can just be trying to sell you something, who knows? So, and that does happen, so we gotta make sure who's coming. But definitely we will communicate farther down the line. I'll get the schedule sorted out, and the closer we get to starting a certain point, I will contact that person, or I basically contact the group as a whole, so everybody knows where we're at every part.
And then weekly meetings?
Yes, so weekly meetings, we can discuss that later. I do a weekly contractor meeting and a weekly owner meeting, and that can be with whoever you want to attend. And I usually do that via conference call, because it's just easier, especially if the board member wants to attend. He doesn't have to come here. He can just call in from wherever you're at. And I just send out an agenda, and I'll send out an updated schedule, and I'll just step through what we got done last week. It's always what we did last week, and what we're gonna be doing the next week. And that's just, it doesn't take more than 15, 30 minutes max, that's it. But it's
Yeah,
just
that's essentially a standing meeting
Standing
weekly
meeting,
that you guys can,
Yeah,
you have time, call in.
yeah, and if you don't
wanna
have
check
time,
in.
I've had customers say, nah, we don't wanna do that, we don't wanna do a meeting at all, just send us an email.
Chuck on
So
the
then I
phone
just-
by himself
yeah.
every week.
So then I'll just put together an email, here's what we did last week, here's what we're gonna do next week, and I send it out. So if that works for you too, that works for me. So however you wanna do it, you know, I'm flexible with that, but at least once a week I wanna communicate what's going on in some form or another. Let's see, the other one, the courthouse here, that's the other critical center here. The courthouse is a 24/7, we know you're always using this courthouse, so we know that's not 24/7, but Monday through Friday. So when we do things in here, especially lighting, we usually do them early in the morning, and we'll pull out of here, maybe do a few pictures and pull out of here before your court starts, and then the next day finish up. So there'll be no interference at all with any part of this project, especially the lighting. We'll come in, we'll do it, you'll see us working here, but we won't tell you you can't have court here, we won't tell you you can't do a room here in any of your facilities. You know, we work around all that, because we know you have to still maintain the business. Again, this is a courthouse first before it's a construction site, so we understand that and our guys understand it. All our workers will be wearing either green or orange shirts, depending on what company they're from, so they're high visibility, so you can see that.
Is orange the best choice for around here?
Yeah, good question, because I was, yeah, we're doing work at Livingston County Jail, said, don't wear the orange t-shirts, because all the guys are wearing
People
orange.
sleep in the jail.
So they had to buy all the green high fluorescent t-shirts for all our crews, but, yeah, so they do wear high visibility, and that's so that people who walk around don't trip into them, because they may be carrying something and they don't see anybody else, but hopefully someone sees them, you know. So, yeah, so they're pretty good about what they need to do, you know, what they need to wear, so we need to be careful around, because again, there's people coming in, there's children coming through here, you don't want to knock somebody down or drop something on them. So they're pretty good safety-wise, we've never had any incidents, knock on wood, so, that's that.
All right.
So that's kind of wrapped up in a nutshell. I'll talk to Augie later on today, and we'll get some more detail of what I need to get involved with, and then we'll go from there. Any questions on any part of it?
I'm sorry, this is kind of backing up a little. When you said electricians were gonna be out, did you say today?
Yeah, today.
Is that us too, the health
Yes.
department?
Yeah, he's gonna visit all the buildings.
Have you got any
Yeah.
emails or anything?
I sent that out last week.
I do too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think I sent to Patrick and Augie. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So they're telling me, no, my question is, you know, so now they're coming today and I didn't know they were coming and I've got patients and all the rooms are full. I don't know how much they're actually gonna be able to.
They're just looking. They're
He's just taking a peek around, they're not doing any work or anything.
No, they're not doing
It's
any
just
work.
similar to what we did before, when we just
kinda came in just to quick look.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
all I
like
do.
walking down the hallway.
Yeah, exactly, because that was the issue, because they hadn't seen the site, so that was
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, right.
so, we can work around any,
Yeah, so
or we can come back another day.
once I get the full list and we start this, as we progress through each task, I will copy everybody, even if you're not engaged. That way you know what's
Do
going on.
some test emails, so you make sure it's going back and forth,
Pardon?
okay?
Test
Do some test
Okay.
emails.
Yeah, that's another thing, if you have, did you have this sheet of the contacts? No, okay, so I sent that also. If you can get that, if you can get this, get the contact sheet, what you're gonna need to do is put my email in your inbox, otherwise everything I send to you will go to spam. But I had that happen with the email servers nowadays, especially in county, any type of governments are very tight. If they don't recognize you, you're not already in there, you're locked out. So, and that goes for the document too, you gotta see what your settings are as well. Cause you're gonna get, all the send out schedules, things like that, so, put my email in your inbox, so that way you get emails from me, otherwise you will not get them. Unless you go to your spam and look, and a lot of people don't look at their spam, I know I don't, so, probably a lot of people do that same thing. Okay,
Very good.
that's it.
And I think Monty just went out to make some copies of the contact sheet for you guys, so.
Any further questions on any of these issues? If not, yes.
I wanna make sure that you guys, do you have any idea, Jay, when they plan on starting to do any of the painting or working on the painting yet?
No, they had talked about after the first of the year,
Okay.
like what these guys are.
Are you-
But I'm gonna get in
work-
contact with them today, because I was asking about the old part.
Yeah, we're pages going on there.
All right.
Sure, so that- like I said, there's plenty of room, we can work around each other.
All right.
Especially when there's no inmates there, it's just so much easier. Yeah.
If we're only out there till noon every day, I live in town, it's not like I can,
And where?
instead on High Street.
Okay, correct.
It's like I live in town, it's not like I can't come let you out. I talked to Augie about it. Bob, Bill Beaton's man had keys. Sheriff has keys. I have an extra set of keys. I mean, I didn't know. Nothing's been said to me if I need to give you guys an extra set of keys, leave the door alone. I mean, I don't know, like, if we're
Yeah,
out
you're
there.
helpful, yes, so like I said, as we come to your building, we'll sit down and discuss that part.
Okay.
Yes, so that way we know, because our
You're
contract.
coming to today?
Oh, today to visit, yeah,
Yeah.
so there, and they may not go in that building.
Okay.
It's so small, yeah, they're trying to hit the ones that are critical, like this building, they may just say, no, we don't need to go, I know what it's like, it's not gonna be difficult to get in now. There's not a lot of lights in there anymore. No, so they may just bypass that, same with the animal shelter, they may not even go to that building. Yeah, I know they're coming, we were at the jail, they were here, they just left here, they're probably going to help from now, and they're gonna walk that. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Is there any need for a closed session today? Anything else to come before the meeting? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Derek moves, Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.
Thanks, Monty.
Aaron, I need to see you when you're done.
Hey, I was useful.